There is a stitch on the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 630 sewing machine that looks like you're going to be stitching by hand. Now, it is a manipulated stitch, so I do want to show you a couple things that you need to know about it, and also why the tension is so tight when you pick it. So the first thing you notice is off to the right of the machine, I actually have clear thread on a thread stand. So it's sitting over there and then going all the way up to the top of the stand and then over to, so first here and then over here. I'd show you how to thread it, but it just looks like I'm threading with air because of the clear thread. Now the clear thread or monofilament thread, if you've got any that is really old, let's not use that. I mean, they've gotten so much better over the years. Get yourself a fresh spool. So if you have any troubles, that is it could be the thread. Now the reason we put it on a thread stand is because it wants to kind of act like a toddler. It's going to be kinky, it's going to get caught around things, and it doesn't always behave. If you ever have thread that's just not behaving correctly, you put it on a thread stand, let it relax as it goes all the way up to this point before it goes into the machine. So that is a highly recommended item there. I have been known, if you don't have a thread stand, to just put the vertical spool pin on and then set the spool here just right in front of the machine and let it kind of do its thing as it comes up and over. That can help. But since I do have a thread stand, I can get it all the way over here, and the distance is what actually makes it kind of start to relax and behave. So we're talking about stitch number 46 in the machine, and look at the tension. It automatically jumps all the way up to 8.0. Now that is a good start. I sometimes take it up to 9 depending on what my thread in the bobbin is actually able to produce this stitch width, because whatever color is down in your bobbin is the color of the stitch that you get. So it's a manipulated stitch. I'm sure years ago somebody had their machine all mucked up and had it stitching with clear thread, and it looked like a hand stitch. So now it's actually a built-in stitch on most machines these days, but there is a lot of elements that go into whether this actually works or not. Tension has to be good. We talked about the quality of the clear thread, and actually even the quality of the batting and the thread you put in your bobbin. So if this doesn't work the first time, just know that there's a few things that you can change and adjust and try different combinations until you get the look of the Hand Look Quilt Stitch. So if you are actually stitching on fabric and batting and making it look like a quilted item, make sure that your IDT is pulled down. This foot that it recommends is the 0A foot, and then just go ahead and stitch. You're going to notice there's a couple stitches forward, back, and then it doesn't happen right at the very first stitch. Sometimes it takes a couple stitches before you start to see the bobbin thread come up to the top. And really, because this tension is so tight here, it is yanking the bobbin up through the fabric, so it looks like you have done hand stitching. So a lot of times people use this more like a stitch in beside the ditch. You don't want to put it in the ditch, then it doesn't look like anything. But this definitely is a possibility. It does take a little practice to kind of get the look of it. So if you don't get enough stitches kind of showing, that's where I would actually tighten the tension. Today it looks like this tension at 8 looks really good. But I do want to show you the back of the fabric. So if anybody was to say, oh, did you do that by hand? And you said yes, well, you're going to be able to, they're going to prove you wrong if they looked at the back. So back, of course, has all your bobbin thread, and it does definitely look a little bit different. But you know, how many times do people look at the back of a quilt, especially if it's hanging on the wall, it's on the dining room table? You can have the look of hand stitching, but without all the time of doing it.